Well, for those of you who have made it that far, and those of you who are just starting to watch on YouTube, good morning. Oh, adjust the camera just a little bit. Here we go. So a bunch of songs again. You can sing for a bit. Some songs you'll know, some songs you won't. The first song is actually a request. So I'm going to sing it, and then I'm going to tell you the story. It's one of mine. It's called Where Do I Go? Where do I go when I hurt inside? I turn to the left, then I turn to the right. I try to turn a blind eye, but my Savior won't let me. He holds on tight. He keeps me going with His holy light. Jesus is the answer for the world today. But if that's true, my answer seems so far away. I try to hang on with faith that's real and end up falling down. Try to change my world around, look just like a clown. Where do I go when I hurt inside? I turn to the left, then I turn to the right. I try to turn a blind eye, but my Savior won't let me. He holds on tight. He keeps me going with His holy light. My struggle's not with flesh and blood. I'm told that day by day, but when I'm bruised and beaten, it makes it hard to say, Lord, teach me today. You can do it your way. I say that over and over, but the rocks and the hills take away the thrills and chills come tumbling over. Where do I go when I hurt inside? I turn to the left and I turn to the right. I try to turn a blind eye, but my Savior won't let me. He holds on tight. He keeps me going with His holy light. Well, there are future days lean this way, but I guess my choice is over. I have no place except to look into your face as your love comes spilling over. Oh, where do I go when I hurt inside? I turn to the left and I turn to the right. I try to turn a blind eye, but my Savior won't let me. He holds on tight. He keeps me going with His holy light. Oh, where do I go? Woo. All right, so that was the, decided to start with something quick this morning. And so, people ask me, and I love to know the meaning behind songs. I don't remember why I wrote that song, what I was going through, what was happening in my life. Wrote it a very long time ago, and I didn't write the story down, unfortunately. So as a result, we have a song, but no real backstory. But I think you could probably guess that something was happening in my life. So excuse me while I have some more morning coffee. All right. Now, I had requested, I asked people what they wanted to hear. I got all kinds of different titles for different things. And one title that I got was He Holds the Future, which isn't necessarily the name of a song, but it's in a number of songs. Last time I did this, I did Because He Lives, which has that in it. So this next one showed up because of that particular phrase, and I had almost forgotten about this hymn. So it goes like this. Ira Stanfill was an accomplished musician and minister. Ira served with 9 different organizations in the capacities of youth director, music director, and pastor. He preached across America and in 40 different countries. On April 23rd, 1939, he married Zelma Lawson. Zelma, a minister's daughter, was a gifted musician who played piano by ear and accompanied her parents on a local radio program. Ira and Zelma had a son, Ray. For years, Zelma traveled with Ira and joined him in serving the Lord as they shared the gospel in one crusade after another. However, life was not perfect, and Zelma eventually became disillusioned with the life they had created. Zelma eventually decided that ministry was not for her and left Ira. He is said to be devastated and continued to try to reconcile with her, remain true to his vows, and forgive her. The couple were divorced in 1948 after almost a decade of marriage. Sadly, Zelma died in a car accident on February 12th, 1951. During the years of separation, divorce, and her death, Ira is said to have sunk into a deep depression. I know this is not the cheeriest story in the world, but this hymn, I Know Who Holds Tomorrow, was written during this difficult and trying time in Ira's life. Ira was driving when he began to hum and then sing a song. He was singing about how not knowing what the future held, but trusting God with the future. Upon arriving home, he rushed to his office and his piano and jotted down the words to I Know Who Holds Tomorrow. If you don't know this hymn, look it up. I don't know about tomorrow. I just live from day to day. I don't borrow from its sunshine, for its skies may turn to gray. I don't worry o'er the future, for I know what Jesus said. And today I'll walk beside him, for he knows what is ahead. Many things about tomorrow I don't seem to understand, but I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my hand. Appropriate for today, isn't it? But it goes on. Every step is getting brighter as the golden stairs I climb. Every burden's getting lighter. Every cloud is silver light. There the sun is always shining. There no tear will dim the eye. At the ending of the rainbow, where the mountains touch the sky. Many things about tomorrow I don't seem to understand, but I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my hand. I don't know about tomorrow. It may bring me poverty, but the one who feeds the sparrow is the one who stands by me. And the path that is my portion may be through the flame or flood, but his presence goes before me, and I'm covered with his blood. Many things about tomorrow I don't seem to understand, but I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my hand. Many things about tomorrow I don't seem to understand, but I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my hand. There you go. So this next one, we're going to jump up a little bit to a much more recent song by Zach Williams. In a recent interview with online magazine, Grammy winner Zach Williams disclosed that his current song, Fear is a Liar, would strike at the heart of what many people experience today. Williams states that his current hit song, Fear is a Liar, is a declaration of encouragement and some scriptural reality that he wanted to communicate to fans. Jonathan Smith, Jason Ingram, and I wrote the song in a few hours, and we were really happy with the way it came out since we put a face to the name. We were calling out the devil for who he is and reminding him that he was a liar and that he has already been defeated. That was the idea for that song. I wanted something that people would relate to and find hope in. Williams continued, for anybody who was struggling with fear or going through something, I hope this song gives them hope to call the devil out. So I figured this one out, learned it for this. So hopefully this is going to... When he told you you're not good enough, when he told you you're not right, when he told you you're not strong enough to put up a good fight, when he told you you're not worthy, when he told you you're not loved, when he told you you're not beautiful, that you'll never be enough. Oh, fear, he is a liar. He will take your breath, stop you in your steps. Oh, fear is a liar. He will rob your rest, steal your happiness, cast your fear in fire. 'Cause fear, he is a liar. When he told you you were trouble, you'd forever be alone. When he told you you should run away, never find a home. When he told you you were dirt, you should be ashamed. When he told you you could be the one, grace can never change. Your fear is a liar. He will take your breath, stop you in your steps. Oh, is a liar. He will rob your rest, steal your happiness, cast your fear in fire. 'Cause fear is a liar. Let your fire fall, cast out all my fears. Let your fire fall, Lord, love is all I feel. Let your fire fall and cast out all my fears. Let your fire fall, your love is all I feel. Let your fire fall and cast out all my fears. Let your fire fall, your love is all I feel. Let your fire fall, cast out all my fears. Let your fire fall, your love is all I feel. Oh, fear is a liar. He will take your breath, stop you in your steps. Oh, fear is a liar. He will rob your rest, steal your happiness, cast your fear in fire. 'Cause fear is a liar. 'Cause fear is a liar. Oh. All right, sip of coffee. For those of you watching on YouTube, good morning. Oh, I miss camp too. This next hymn happens to be one of my favorites. I have a lot of favorites, I will admit. but this next hymn is a joyful ode that is one of the best-known hymns in the English language. Henry Van Dyke was inspired in 1907 by the beauty of the Berkshire Mountains, where he was serving as a guest preacher at Williams College, Williamstown, Mass. So this hymn was written not far from where I am right now. It has been said that Van Dyke handed the poem to the president of the college saying, "Here is a hymn for you. Your mountains were my inspiration. It must be sung to the music of Beethoven's Hymn to Joy." The hymn appeared in the third edition of Van Dyke's Book of Poems. Van Dyke was a Presbyterian minister. Most of his career was spent as a professor of English literature at Princeton University. He also served in civil posts, including his appointment to the Netherlands and Luxembourg by Woodrow Wilson, who was a personal friend, and was a lieutenant commander in the U.S. Navy Chaplain Corps during World War I. Van Dyke wrote some 25 books and chaired the committee that in 1905 prepared the Book of Common Worship for the Presbyterian Church. So, having a chaplain write this particular hymn is only appropriate to sing it Memorial Day weekend. And if you haven't guessed by now, it's joyful, joyful. Joyful, joyful, we adore thee, God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee, opening to the sun above. Melt the clouds of sin and sadness, drive the dark of doubt away. Giver of immortal gladness, fill us with the light of day. All thy works with joy surround the earth and reflect thy rays. Stars and angels sing around thee, center of unbroken praise. Field and forest, vale and mountain, flowery meadow, flashing seas. Chanting bird and flowing fountain, call us to rejoice in thee. Thou art giving and forgiving, ever blessing, ever blessed. Wellspring of the joy of living, ocean depth of happy rest. Thou our Father, Christ our brother, all who live in love are thine. Teach us how to love each other, lift us to the joy divine. The girls join the happy chorus which the morning stars began. Father love is reigning o'er us, brother love binds man to man. Ever singing march we onward, victors in the midst of strife. Joyful music leads us onward in the triumph song of life. All right. Another sip of coffee. Next hymn, at age 20, George Matheson was engaged to be married, but began going blind. When he broke the news to his fiancée, she decided she could not go through life with a blind husband, and she left him. Before losing his sight, he had written 2 books of theology, and some feel that if he had retained his sight, he could have been the greatest leader of the Church of Scotland in his day. Even without his sight, he could have been. Anyway, that's just my side note. A special providence was that George's sister offered to care for him. With her help, George left the world of academia for pastoral ministry and wound up preaching to 1,500 people each week. The day came, however, in 1882 when his sister fell in love and prepared for marriage herself. The evening before the wedding, George's whole family had left to go get ready for the next day's celebration. He was alone and facing the prospect of living the rest of his life without the one person who had come through for him. On top of this, he was doubtless reflecting on his own aborted wedding day 20 years earlier. It is not hard to imagine the fresh waves of grief washing over him that night. In the darkness of that moment, George Matheson wrote this next hymn. He remarked afterward that it took him 5 minutes, and that it was the only hymn he ever wrote that required no editing. The hymn is, "O Love That Will Not Let Me Go," which is heartening hope for you and me. Oh, love that will not let me go. Oops, sorry. I did this yesterday too when I was practicing. So this is live, so we can get this one right. Love that will not let me go. I rest my weary soul in thee. I give thee back the life I owe, and in thine ocean depths its flow may richer, fuller be. O life that followest all my way, I yield my flickering torch to thee. My heart restores its borrowed ray, that in thy sunshine's blaze its day may brighter, fairer be. O joy that seekest me through pain, I cannot close my heart to thee. I trace the rainbow through the rain and feel the promise is not vain, that morn shall tearless be. O cross that liftest up my head, I dare not ask to fly from thee. I lay in dust life's glory dead, and from the ground the blossoms red, life that shall endless be. All right. Going to move modern again for you. Here we go. Billy Foote started leading worship in 1990, right after graduating from East Texas Baptist University. At first, it was just him and his guitar, but after a few years, he added a bass player and a drummer, and his wife Cindy joined on vocals. In the late 90s, he began to write music. Around the year 2000, Foote developed a neurological condition called hyperdysphonia, which greatly affected his vocals. Cindy took over singing the lead vocals when touring or recording, but Foote continued to write. This next one, again, was a request called Amazing Love. I'm forgiven because you were forsaken. forsaken. I'm accepted. You were condemned. I'm alive and well. Your spirit is within me because you died and rose again. I'm forgiven because you were forsaken. I'm accepted. You were condemned. I'm alive and well. Your spirit is within me because you died and rose again. Amazing love, how can it be? Thinking my King would die for me. Amazing love, I know it's true. And it's my joy to honor you in all I do. I honor you. You are my King. You are my King. Jesus, you are my King. Jesus, you are my King. There's love, how can it be that you, my King, would die for me? There's love, I know it's true, and it's my joy to honor you in all I do. I honor you in all I do. I honor you. All right. Oh, good morning, Linda. I wish I could see everybody's names on the phone, but I can't actually because I'm, anyway, far away from the phone. Anyway, all right. So this next one is by one of the most prolific hymn writers in history, not Fanny Crosby, who is probably the most, but pretty close. The name of the hymn is "And Can It Be That I Should Gain?" It is perhaps one of the most joyfully poignant hymns penned by Charles Wesley. On Whit Sunday, May 21st, 1738, 3 days before his brother John experienced his heart strangely warmed, Charles was convalescing in the home of John Bray, a poor mechanic, when he heard a voice saying, "In the name of Jesus of Nazareth, arise and believe, and you shall be healed of all your infirmities." The voice was most likely Mr. Bray's sister, who felt commanded to say these words in a dream. Charles got out of bed, and opening his Bible, read from the Psalms, "He has put a new song in my mouth, even praise unto our God," followed by the first verse of Isaiah 40, comfort ye my people, says your God." He wrote in his journal, "I have found myself at peace with God and rejoiced in the hope of the love of Christ." The statement from Mr. Bray's sister sparked within Charles a conviction that he had never felt before. Moved and convicted in spirit, Charles wrestled with these words until he came to rest in his faith, knowing that it is by faith we are saved. Soon after this conversion experience, he wrote 2 hymns in celebration of the amazing love he had come to know. "And Can It Be That I Should Gain?" and "Where Shall My Wandering Soul Begin?" It is thought that "And Can It Be" was the very first hymn written by Charles Wesley after his conversion. So, excuse me while I blow my nose. If you don't happen to know this one, again, this was off the prompt of the, you notice that a lot of these have amazing love in them. So, this is "And Can It Be That I Should Gain?" And can it be rest in the Savior's blood. Died he for me, who caused his pain, for me who him to death pursued. Amazing love, how can it be that thou, my God, shouldst die for me? Amazing love, how can it be that thou, my God, shouldst die for me? 'Tis mystery of immortal guise, who can explore his strange design? In vain the firstborn seraph tries to sound the depth of love divine. His mercy all let earth adore, let angel minds inquire no more. Amazing love, how can it be that thou, my God, shouldst die for me? He left his Father's throne above, so free, so infinite his grace. Humbled himself, so great his love, and bled for all his chosen race. 'Tis mercy all immense and free, for oh my God, it found out me. Amazing love, how can it be that thou, my God, shouldst die for me? Long my imprisoned spirit lay, fast bound in sin and nature's night. Thine eye diffused a quickening ray. I woke the dungeon flamed with light. My chains fell off, my heart was free. I rose, went forth, and followed thee. Amazing love, how can it be that thou, my God, shouldst die for me? For no condemnation now I dread, Jesus and all in him is mine. Alive in him, my living head, and clothed with righteousness divine. Someday, hold up, hold thine approach the eternal throne, and take the crown through Christ my own. Amazing love, how can it be that thou, my God, shouldst die for me? Ow! Okay. Coffee. All right. So I decided to change seasons. Oh, hey, Patrick. Oof. Steve, look at that. Morning, guys. Joy to the World. How about that one? Is perhaps an unlikely popular Christmas hymn. First of all, it's based on a song. Second, it celebrates Christ's second coming much more than the first. This favorite Christmas hymn is the result of a collaboration of at least 3 people and draws its initial inspiration not from the Christmas narrative in Luke 2, but from Psalm 98. Joy to the World was taken from the second part of the paraphrase from Psalm 98, 4-9, entitled The Messiah's Coming and Kingdom. Isaac Watts, commenting on his paraphrase of the psalm, notes, in these 2 hymns, I have formed out of the 98th Psalm, I have fully expressed what I esteem to be the first and chief sense of the Holy Scriptures. For Watts, the Psalms were not to be viewed as biblical material in their own right. That's just, again, his opinion, don't worry. But had value only in as much as they pointed toward the New Testament. The result is a favorite Christmas hymn based on an Old Testament psalm set to musical fragments composed in England and pieced together across the Atlantic in the United States. How's all that for you? Oh, yes, okay. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him praise. And heaven and nature sing. And heaven and nature sing. And heaven and nature sing. Yeah, I sang low for me, just so you know. And I'm singing it. Joy to the earth, the Savior reigns. Let men their songs employ. Oh, how fields and floods, rocks, hills, and plains repeat the sounding joy. Repeat the sounding joy. Repeat. No more let sins and sorrows nor thorns infest the ground. He comes to make his blessings flow, far as the curse is found, far as the curse is found, far as it's the last one higher for all of you. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love. All right. 2 more songs for you. And this next one was a request online as well. And I was very blessed because somebody requested one of my songs, which I was very blessed by. Oh, they're on live. Good morning, William Young. Good morning. Hello. All right. So this next one is a song that I wrote a number of years ago. Many of you watching know that I travel with a Christian theater company. Many of you were part of it that are watching right now. And it was on a particular drive across the country. Sharon was in Rhode Island with the kids. I was coming from California. It was winter. There were a whole bunch of us in the vehicle. It was probably middle of the night. I only know that it had to be fairly late because everyone was asleep except me. I was driving, so I wasn't asleep. Just don't worry. Okay. We had just recently seen, I just witnessed a worship service with Covenant Players where a very dear friend had done a praise dance. And it had connected with me in a way that praise dance had never connected with me before. And in that moment, she wasn't dancing for anybody except the Lord. And then I started thinking about Sharon and all the dancing that she has done for the Lord. And I'm just thinking about that. And all of a sudden I hear a voice say to me, "Dance for me." And I paused for a second, looked up, and was like, "You got the wrong address, buddy. I don't dance. Sharon dances, Kristen dances, so you go right ahead and call them. They'll dance for you right now. I guarantee you." And I heard it again, "Dance for me." He kept saying it until I had a conversation with him. That conversation took form into a song. It has gone through several different names, Dance for Me, Dance with Me, and most recently I'm just calling it Dance. However, it goes like this. Dance for me. How can I dance for you? I can't even walk with you. I just stumble and fall. I can't see you at all. I can't dance, 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 dance for you. Dance for me. How can I dance for you? I try, but I can't break through. My heart, it just quakes. I don't have what it takes. I can't dance, 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 dance for you. Dance for me. My child, look around you. It should be clear. I want you to dance out of joy and not fear. I want you to look me full in the face, and as you do, you'll be covered by grace. Just raise off the floor. Don't try anymore. Just please dance, 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 dance for me. Dance for me. How can I dance for you? Dance for me. I can't even walk with you. As I stumble and fall, do you still call to me? Dance, 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 dance for you. You call me to dance for you. I'm scared, but that's what I'll do. I'll trust you to know how far I can go as I dance, 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 dance for you. My child, can't you see that you're precious to me? I want you to dance so that everyone sees that the Lord of your dance is dancing with you. And they will praise as I'm asking of you. I love you beyond, and they will respond as you dance, 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 dance with me. See, with that song, I had to get to the point of hearing that he was not saying dance for me like a puppet, but was saying dance with me like a partner, which is what we should be doing. So, well, thank you, Linda. I'm glad that you find that as one of my favorites. I appreciate that. And I just have one more hymn this morning. So it'll be a little less than an hour, but that's okay. Sorry. I need to do more of this because the hand cramps a little bit, especially on that one. That one's I keep, saying, whoa, what? Why'd that guy write that song that way? Oh, that was me. Never mind. Okay. Last hymn, again, a request. You probably know the story behind it, but I tried to find some other facts about it. The hymn is, well, if I say the name of the author, John Newton, you'll probably know that it's Amazing Grace. John Newton was born in 1725 in London to a Puritan mother who died 2 weeks before his 7th birthday, and a stern sea captain father who took him to sea at age 11. After many voyages and a reckless youth of drinking, Newton was impressed into the British Navy. That was, the way they got you. They put a coin in your hand and they took you. After attempting to desert, he received 8 dozen lashes. Count those up. 8 dozen. Yikes. And was reduced to the rank of common seaman. While later serving on the Pegasus, a slave ship, Newton did not get along with the crew, who decided to leave him in West Africa with Amos Clow, a slave trader. Clow gave Newton to his wife, Princess Pay, an African royal who treated him vilely, as she did her other slaves. He was eventually saved by a sea captain that his father had hired. During the voyage home, the ship was caught in a horrendous storm off the coast of Ireland and almost sank. Newton prayed to God, and the cargo miraculously shifted to fill a hole in the ship's hull, and the vessel drifted to safety. Newton took this as a sign from the Almighty and marked it as his conversion to Christianity. He did not radically change his ways at once. His total reformation was more gradual. I cannot consider myself to have been a believer in the full sense of the word until a considerable time afterwards, he later wrote. He did begin reading the Bible at this point and began to view his captives with a more sympathetic view. He suffered a stroke in 1754 and retired, but continued to invest in the business of slave trading. In 1764, he was ordained an Anglican priest and wrote 280 hymns to accompany his services. He wrote the words for Amazing Grace in 1772. It was not until 1788, 34 years after leaving slave trade, that he renounced his former slaving profession publicly by publishing a blazing pamphlet called Thoughts Upon the Slave Trade. The tract described the horrific conditions on slave ships, and Newton apologized for making a public statement so many years after participating in the trade. It will always be a subject of humiliating reflection to me that I was once an active instrument in a business at which my heart now shudders. The pamphlet was so popular that it was reprinted several times and sent to every member of Parliament. Under the leadership of N.P. William Wilberforce, the English civil government outlawed slavery in Great Britain in 1807. And thankfully, Newton lived to see it, dying in December of 1807. So it's Amazing Grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Twas grace hath brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been there for 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun. We've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. I'm always blessed putting these together. I got to tell you, I don't know all the stories behind these hymns, and it's wonderful to be able to look them up. If you would like to request, I'll be doing this again next Sunday. So if you'd like to request a hymn or a song or whatever, or you just want to know the story behind a hymn, let me know on any of my Facebook pages or my YouTube channel, or, pick something. I'd be happy to do that. Sally, I'm so happy I'm becoming part of your Sunday mornings. That's a huge blessing for me. Oh, you're welcome, Lewis. Thank you. And what happened? Oh, that's okay. So now I just want to tell you that while I was singing Dance With Me, Sharon put her phone down and danced downstairs. So sorry you couldn't get that on video. However, that's a lovely thing as well. So bless you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. I hope that you are, hope that you're blessed. Hope you can enjoy this gorgeous day. Stay safe, stay well, and I will see you next Sunday.